Welcome guys, and in this video I want to talk about the update for the Panasonic GH4, or more specifically the custom picture profile that you can get, which is called Log L. Now Log L is supposed to be similar to the Log custom profile that's available in the professional Panasonic cameras, like the Panasonic VariCam. So what exactly is Log L? It's an image profile that allows you to record an even flatter looking image than you were able to do up until this point. Before this upgrade, the flattest kind of an image profile that was available within the camera was the Cinelike D standing for dynamic range. And with that, you're getting around 10 f-stops of latitude within the camera. Now with the new Vlog, you can push that even further, and it's supposed to allow the camera to actually capture 12 stops of latitude. So, in a way, 2 f-stops is a pretty big increase in a dynamic range. Now, is it worth it? Well, I think that depends on who is using the camera and how they're using the camera, and also what kind of accessories they have. If you notice up here, this is my sort of kind of a more bigger setup for my Panasonic GH4. So I have the cage on it, matte box, cine lens, follow focus, but most importantly, I have a external recorder. This is the Atomos Assassin. And with this recorder, it allows me to capture 10-bit, but not only that, but 10-bit in 4:2:2 color space coming out of the Panasonic GH4. Without that, you're limited to basically recording internally in the Panasonic GH4 in only 8-bit, but more importantly in only 4:2:0 color space. In case you're wondering what all those numbers mean, basically if you're recording inside the camera, you're going to be limited in the amount of colors and shades that you're able to capture, versus if you're using an external recorder. And that's just simply because of the processing power within the camera. The image sensor, and then the output in the camera is actually able to output a lot more information than the camera itself is able to record it. That's the reason why you need an external recorder. There's a few other options. This, I think, is sort of one of the better and cheaper options. Some of the other external recorder options would also be from Atomos. That would be the Atomos Shogun. It's pretty much the same thing as the Atomos Assassin. Also, there's another recorder from Odyssey, the Q7 or Q7 Plus, I believe. That one would also allow you to capture 4K, in 10-bit out of this camera. So what's the big deal, about capturing more color information, on an external recorder? Well, up to this point, I think if you're just using the GH4, I've done a few tests before with the Atomos Shogun recorder. Yeah, I mean, there is obviously an advantage of being able to capture, 10-bit color information. But because of, I would say, the image profile or the kind of image that the camera was outputting, it didn't make that much of a difference. It made a big difference, I would say, when you were really pushing the image, when you were really color grading and really stylizing the image. It gave you that much more information. Also, just having more bits of information, it just means that the image, the noise, for example, in the image doesn't show up as much, or the compression artifacts. But other than that, if you just did sort of, I would say, kind of standard color correction, like, I showed in my tests when I was testing the camera with the Atomos Shogun, we would have seen that for like 99% of the work, or the kind of shots at least that I was getting, you could not really tell much of a difference between the externally recorded footage in 10-bit or internally within 8-bit. Now, when it comes to Log L image profile that's now available in the camera, first thing I noticed when I went out and started doing tests with it is that when I was recording internally in the camera, using the 8-bit 4:2:0 codec, and then I applied very slight color correction, I noticed that a lot of the image, the shots, or I would say most of my shots, were showing a lot of compression artifacts, but also the noise. The noise is really, really visible when you're recording in Vlog, especially in like I would say, anything basically from like mid to like shadows. It just shows up a lot in there. Now, one way to sort of minimize the extra noise that's visible in the shadows is to overexpose the image a little bit. So in my tests, I found that overexposing by 1 f-stop, helps. I think some people I know are pushing it to 2 f-stops. Overexposed in my tests, 2 f-stops really, clips the highlights a lot more, obviously, and I don't think the payoff is as big. So I think one f-stop overexposure definitely helps. But still, even with that little, you could say, cheat, it still, you could say it minimizes the noise, but it does not really hide the compression artifacts in the footage. So in my tests, basically recording internally in the camera using the Vlog L, I found that this new image profile just really wasn't worth it. You know, wasn't worth the headache. When you compare it to, like, for example, the Cinelike D profile that was available originally with the camera, because yeah, you're getting a little bit of extra dynamic range, but you're getting it at a I think a really bad, you know, or significant cost, which is really visible compression artifacts. So I'd rather have a clean looking image with, you know, slightly less dynamic range. That's my preference. So that's why I also then wanted to get an external recorder to kind of pair it with the Panasonic GH4 and see whether, if I was recording, you know, externally in 10-bit and 4:2 color space, you know, and to like a better compression codec, like a ProRes, if that would actually then make it worthwhile using Vlog, you know, in the Panasonic GH4. And as you can see from my tests up here, if you're just simply looking at the sort of the raw Vlog image, which is very flat looking, you know, almost kind of black and white, here's the version that's shot internally on the camera, and here's the same shot now shot externally on the Atomos Assassin. And if you just compare the two shots even side by side, it doesn't seem like there's that much of a difference. Now obviously this is a very flat looking image, so next thing you got to do is you got to apply a LUT, a color LUT onto it. So when you apply the color LUT, and that kind of changes the flat image profile into kind of a more standard color space, which is Rec 709. And now the first thing that I noticed after applying the LUTs is that the version that was shot on the external recorder just has, it seems like it's a lot more saturated image, has more color, and also just has a bit better pleasing looking kind of contrast. Versus the one that's recorded internally, it just looks a little bit like it's kind of washed out still, and the contrast is still not all the way there. Now, when you actually look at the Vectorscope for both of these shots, you'll notice again that the shot that's you know, recorded externally on the Atomos Assassin just has a lot more sort of, you know, range that it covers, versus again the same shot but recorded internally in the camera. And this goes the same for whether it's, you know, before you apply the LUT or after. So here's the Vectorscopes for the shots before I applied the LUTs. And as you'll notice, the shot from the external recorder just covers a bigger range in the Vectorscopes. So what does this really mean? By recording basically this really flat looking image inside the camera in this very limiting codec, the codec as it is already kind of struggles capturing, you know, a lot of information because of the compression ratio and like I said, in the 4:2 color space. And so being able to compare those two different versions on the Vectorscope, I can see right away that the image that's recorded on the external recorder has a lot more gradient information. Technically they're both, you know, have just as much, you could say, latitude, but they don't have as many steps in between. And that's just simply because, like I said, the camera is limited to 4:2 color space. Now, one of the really great things about the Atomos Assassin, and the same thing with the Atomos Shogun recorders, when you're working with Vlog, or really when you're working with any kind of flat image profile like S-Log and the Sony cameras, is the fact that you can load in custom LUTs. Because, you know, when you're working with these flat image profiles, the image is so flat that sometimes it's really hard to tell really, you know, if you're getting the right kind of colors. For example, if your white balance is correct. Also, sometimes it's just even really hard to, you know, pull focus, because again, there's no contrast in there. So by being able to on location just quickly load in the LUT, which will convert Vlog to Rec 709 color space, means that you're actually seeing more or less what you're going to get in, you know, in the final image. So it really makes it easier just to work with, and it's great that you're able to do that on location while you're working. And like I said, you can preview the image properly, but you're still actually recording the flat Vlog, you know, image profile. So you're still getting all of that extra color information. It's just for preview purposes only. And that's one of the cool features that this external recorder allows. If you guys are interested right now in getting this recorder or the Atomos Shogun, which is very similar to this one, it's kind of a higher end version of it, you can get it right now from BH Photo, Adorama, or Amazon. Again, all the links are in the description of this video or on my website. So is it worth getting the new update with the V-Log L, which unfortunately costs $100 right now? Well, I think if you're somebody who likes to shoot with just the Panasonic GH4, a small form factor, without adding all the extra accessories like an external recorder, or maybe you're somebody who just simply can't afford to get an external recorder, then I think it's not worth getting the upgrade, because you're going to end up paying $100 for a flat image profile that, like I said, is just, it's going to more degrade your final image. Yeah, you are going to get that extended dynamic range, but the artifacts, I think, are of the noise and the compression artifacts are going to be so noticeable you probably won't end up using it. Now, if you're somebody like me who likes to build up the camera, use an external recorder, and you can afford to buy an external recorder also, then I think for the $100, I think it is very worth it, because you are sort of further on, pushing the camera and sort of enabling this already great camera to give you even better image quality. So $100, I think it's worth it. You guys can get it right now from B&H Photo. Links in the description of this video. Also, if you guys want to see all the full tests that I did with V-Log using the external recorder versus the same shots without the recorder, just internally, you can see those in 4K on my website at tomantosfilms.com. And finally, just leave me comments below, click thumbs up or thumbs down. Let me know what you guys think of this video, and if you agree with me on my sort of analysis of this. I know there's probably a lot of you guys already who've tested it out, and you probably have different opinions than mine. So try to convince me. Tell me why you think I'm wrong and you're right. So just do that by leaving your comments below. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, share this video if you like it, and click thumbs up. Anyways, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.